All right, I do believe I am live. How's it going? Carl Catino of Unchapped Genius here, where it's all about accessing our higher abilities, creativity, and flow. That's what it's all about. And so today, in day two, excuse me one second. There we go. All right, so yesterday I introduced the Untapped Genius channel and the fact that I'm going to be doing lives here on YouTube instead of Facebook now. And I'm hoping to reach a broader and more specific, actually, audience. Broader in scope, but specifically looking for um, peak experiences and being at our best. Now, there's many ways of expressing the general idea here, but hopefully you can relate. Perhaps you've had some experiences in your life, both in work and in play, doing what you love to do, where you got lost in the moment. There was a perceived effortlessness. You were going for a ride in a sense, and you just get lost in that world. You forget about time, you forget about your problems, and there is an ease and a flow about what you're doing. Can you think of an experience like that? Now, for me, it's often experienced in music and in sports. So, my favorite thing to do is kiteboarding, and skiing is a close second. So, when I'm kiting, got the kite 100 feet in the air. I'm on a surfboard, and I need to be able to dial in the wind, the water, the waves, everything going on in the moment, a very dynamic environment. And I need to be able to find that sweet spot where everything settles and gets into sync. And that's when life is at its sweetest. That's when things lock in. There's an ease about what I'm doing in the midst of the chaos, in the midst of a dynamic environment. There's an ease and steadiness and clarity. Okay, do you know what I mean? Can you think of an experience that you've had that you can relate to? Now, again, for me, a lot of it involves sports. I mentioned kiteboarding, also skiing. Now, I can be skiing in between the moguls, the bumps, or glade skiing, as it's called, in between the trees. And my body and my mind are making a million calculations per second. All these tiny little adjustments so I don't whack myself in the tree. And yet, there's a part of me that's just there going for the ride. And the doing is getting done for me. That's what it seems like. I don't have to think. I don't have to plan. I don't have to worry. I don't have to be careful. All I get to do is be present and feeling the feeling of being in the groove, in flow. And again, when there's a sense of effortless, even in the midst of a lot of action, there can be an effortlessness perceived. So that's what we're talking about when it comes to being in a high state of flow. Now, it could also be when you're doing something creative, like when I'm drumming or singing or dancing. When I'm in flow, when I'm in a peak state of mind, again, there's an effortlessness about it. It's just so beautiful. Not only effortless, but it's also when I'm at my best. I create the best music when I'm getting out of the way, when I'm not trying too hard. Can you relate to that? Where you're putting too much effort, you're trying to achieve, you're trying to get to some place or experience. Now, there's a paradox that you might be aware of that the more we need or want or crave or reach for that ultimate peak experience or performance, that it becomes elusive. Indeed, that paradox is real. Sometimes the more we try to reach for something, the more elusive it becomes. There's a trick to being in flow. There's a trick to enticing the very best abilities of us to come out, the very best ideas, the best creativity, the best insights, if you will. All right. So this does not have to be only in the world of sports or creativity. It can also be found in the everyday. Even in things like doing your dishes, you can experience higher levels of flow doing your dishes or your laundry or cleaning your house than what you might be experiencing. Now, why would you want to be in flow when you're doing the dishes? Well, by definition, number one, the perceived effort is going to go down. Number two, Uh, uh, a signpost of being in flow is that it feels enjoyable no matter what you're doing. So there is nothing more enjoyable in this world than being in a high state of flow, no matter what we're talking about. You know, connecting with a loved one, feeling connected with nature when you go for a walk or you're hiking, being at one with that sculpture that you're working on or an invention. You know, it's that full absorption into what you're doing. And there's a sense of peace. And again, there's a sense of going for a ride where you're not doing the doing as much as you're experiencing it through you. Subtle, but very important distinction. So, that is something that we're going to be exploring a lot. Peak experiences, achieving higher abilities, creativity, and that state of flow. If this sounds interesting to you, keep in touch, subscribe to my channel, share it with others. We're going to be getting into things that I believe you will have never seen before. Because what I do is I take my experiences from music, which I've had 30 years pursuing jazz guitar, bunch of other instruments, including world percussion that you'll see behind me here. So I took what I learned about principles of music, timing, rhythm, tempo, pacing, and other dynamics with what I learned in electrical and computer engineering. I'm an inventor. I invented an automatic guitar tuner, invented a talking caller ID just for the fun of it, because I love learning how to get things to work, right? Take my ideas and bring them into full fruition. There's an intrinsic joy and thrill for me in doing that. So I learned things in engineering that I had no clue would be useful for the world of personal growth and development, peak performance. One of those things that I learned in engineering were principles of the wave. If you take a look at the waves behind me here, I'm not referring to the surfing wave, though riding the wave of your life, if you will, is a beautiful notion, and that's what it's all about, riding the wave of your life. But it turns out that when we get into the nature of the signal wave, that it gives us huge, wonderful, delicious insights into peak performance, being at our best. So I'm going to save it for another day. We're going to have a number of trainings during our lives. We're going to have question and answer. We're going to have hot seat experiences where we will interview folks who do experience peak levels of flow and living life to the fullest. And you know, what is it that they do, and who are they being in order to be able to experience that in their life, in their work, in their play, and in hanging out with others. And so there's going to be a whole ton of wonderful stuff to get into in these lives. Please stay tuned. I think you're going to be thrilled at the model that I've created and how accessible our higher abilities can become. Because, by the way, my company is called Untapped Genius. And I mentioned this yesterday, but the Untapped Genius does not refer to the Einsteins of the world, does not refer to people with the rare talent or the right genes, right? It actually specifically refers to built-in abilities of the mind and body that you may not know that you don't know about. What are those things? Stay tuned. We're going to be getting into those. But the implications are huge. Core conviction with Untapped Genius is you are freaking amazing, beyond what you can even conceptualize. And I don't care how confident you are or how successful you may be in your life or not. Um, you are actually more amazing than what you realize. And I can prove it. And it's science, and it's measurable, and it's tangible. So these built-in abilities of the mind and body that I'm going to be speaking about are found in everyone. They're found in animals. And it turns out you don't even need a mind or a body to tap certain abilities that are built into life itself. Again, what are they? Stay tuned. All right. So today's live was on peak performance in peak states and just the general nature of what it is to experience that more in your life, where you're at your best, you're fully immersed in whatever you're doing, you're enjoying the hell out of it, and there's a sense of effortlessness about it. So you can, again, apply these things to the everyday, whether it be doing your dishes or doing the laundry or doing what you love most in this life. So there you have it. I hope I teased you a little bit, enticed you to subscribe, and well, put your seatbelt on. It's going to be quite the ride. All right, folks, have a great night, and please do comment and get the word out. See ya.